Generally, you said feminism is neutral.
Here's what actually happened.
The foundation of all knowledge.
I'm really mad that
what difference does it make, right? What
Stop.
The deregulation of the industry is obviously going to cause more of that industry.
To lubricate the trust connection between people until they have enough.
Yet we could still look at biological reality in determining who's a female, even if there are.
Why don't you denounce feminism the same way you're denouncing capitalism? If you don't...
For something to be objective, it needs to be verifiable. And you can't verify...
If I make a claim as a political pundit, it is true that I definitely could be wrong. That you're promoting, right?
Ideology is the main tenet of politics, right? This is my ideology. So 2015, anyone go back and watch the footage? The first GOP debate.
Cool, Robert. Oh, that? With a crowbar, you said.
And good ladies. I've got ladies on the screen and it completely distracted me. I apologize. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah the Raging Tomato, bringing to you live another debate. This evening, joining me, I have Taylor Fogarty back for more, Vibe back for more, Alishness back for more, and Fatty making his back to our screen debut once again. He used to hang out here a lot, and I'm happy to get his butt back up here. Tonight, they will be debating abortion is immoral. Taylor, if you'd like to begin with your opening statement, please.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sarah, for having me. And thanks to my opponents and my teammate. And thanks to everyone watching. So abortion is an important and emotional topic. So hopefully we can succeed in giving the audience a clear picture of each side during this conversation so that they can decide which position is more reasonable and more ethical. Let's start with defining our terms. Abortion, we will define as the intentional killing of a preborn human life. This does not include the treatment for the natural death, such as a miscarriage or the delivery of a stillborn baby. I'll offer this line of reasoning. Killing innocent human beings is generally wrong. Abortion ends the life of an innocent human being. Therefore, abortion is generally wrong. How do we know the unborn are human beings? At the moment of conception, a new being is created with unique human DNA. They have human parents, so we know they are of the human species. And we know something is biologically alive if it is organized, metabolizes energy, maintains homeostasis, grows, responds to stimuli, and reproduces, or has the capacity to, and evolves over time. The unborn meet these standards. A dangerous road to go down is to grant humanity and personhood based on being a human plus something. So a human that is of a certain race or gender, ability, or a certain size, or in a certain location. And we've seen atrocities done to those who were labeled less than human throughout civilization. Our opponents tonight have two tasks: to explain what are the unborn. If they concede they are in fact innocent human beings, they then have to justify the mass killing of innocent human beings. If they want to claim that some level of consciousness or sentience is what determines life and death, they have the difficult task of not only defining what consciousness is, when it starts, and why human consciousness is special over other species' conscious experience, they also have to prove that we are identical to our minds or our consciousnesses. Humans are valuable based on what they are, not what they can do. Their size, level of dependence, environment, and stage of development should not inform whether or not their right to life exists. In a healthy society, we should care for our children, protect them from harm, promote parenthood, and reduce violence. And I believe our position does this. So I will end there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Taylor. Vibe to you, please.
Thank you so much. Just want to shout out to the panel here. Obviously, I don't need to ask people to subscribe to Sarah because if you're watching, you're already subscribing. But if you haven't, hit that damn button. I've been talking to Taylor. Taylor's freaking awesome. Subscribe to her as well. Alishness. I'm just going to call you Al because it's much easier throughout this debate. Don't want to do tongue twisting. She's actually quite a smart cookie as well. I think she's a little bit more on our side than she actually knows, actually watching some of her debates. She just had debated some really dumb guys in the past. I promise you, Al, I'm not going to bring up Morlock on this abortion debate, so you don't have to worry about that and that stupidity. Fatty, you're immoral. Amoral. I don't even know why you're on this panel. I don't know what you actually have to contribute to this particular fight, being an amoralist. But it'll still be interesting to see what you bring to the whole panel here. It really is an interesting debate here. We're talking about morality, and I actually called out Fatty as an amoral person. We've got immoral, we've got moral, and we've got amoral. I personally think that Taylor and I think we're on the moral side here. And when we talk about morality, we're talking about right or wrong. Alishness, of course, we're thinking you're immoral. But ultimately, our goal is to shift the scales on that because this is about morality or what's right and wrong. If you're amoral, then really you don't care. And that's why I'm just excluding Fatty from this whole conversation here. But, I mean, this is a huge thing, and it's an easy win for us. We've got us pro-lifers, right? Which makes you guys anti-lifers. But obviously you guys knew when you guys got in a room that anti-life is not a good slogan. So what you came up with was pro-choice. That pro-choice, it failed. So then you guys figured out after a few decades of like being pro-choice, you decided to switch to body autonomy, right? So now you're like, oh, there's this like virus that like snuck up into my vagina and decided to get me pregnant, which by the way, is not what happened. You actually had a choice in this. Ultimately, when it comes to morality, we're talking about murder. We're talking about genocide, a huge genocide. And what I expect to hear from you guys is a few different things. I suspect that we're going to hear some statistics. These statistics are going to say, oh, mothers that give birth when they shouldn't have given birth have bad outcomes. Children in these circumstances have bad outcomes. You know what? I don't care about your statistics. Your statistics are going to show something that I already know. That is a different problem, and the solution is not murder. The solution is not mass genocide. Something else I'm going to hear is that body autonomy. Like, I'm the woman. Why should this child that is inside me actually have any rights? Well, because you actually chose to give that child rights by engaging in a particular activity. The craziness is, well, when I hear these type of things, is every time I talk to abortionists, they're always like, I want to save the whales. They're vegetarians. It's like we care about the world. The only thing we don't care about is children. Like, we're totally willing to get rid of children. It's just craziness. You guys just have total craziness in your minds. So I think this is going to be a really interesting debate. I'm really curious where it's going to go because it's an easy win for us. I mean, who doesn't want to save humanity, right? With that, I'm done.
Thank you so much, Fibe. Alishness to you, please.
All right. First, I'm going to bring up the social aspect that might get brought up. The idea that women get abortions to avoid responsibility. This is something that I commonly hear, that women want to, that because abortions are usually elective, that women want to give up the responsibility of having a child and raising it. That abortions are treated as taboo, especially in Christianity. There's a lot of arguments that could say that God is not is not pro-birth, or pro-life, but we can leave those to another day because we don't need to get into the weeds on that. And that women are supposed to be the nurturers. So it necessarily indicates that even if a woman is not fit to have a child, that she should just have one anyway, because it's her responsibility to have that child. The argument that abortion is immoral stems from the fact that people are actually pro-birth and not actually pro-life. People who argue that abortion is immoral will usually also argue that children are birthed into a world where they were already, or argue that children are birthed into a world, but they are also already disadvantaged because they only have one or maybe no biological parents at their side. And this is indicative of the fact that just in this term, there were community service block grants that were cut by the Trump administration, special supplemental nutrition programs for women, infants, and child, known as WIC. Low-income home energy assistance programs were cut. Federal K-12 funding was cut. Preschool development grants were cut. All these cuts are indicative that the government is deterring women from having children because they cannot financially support or foster an education for children. The government is clearly removing the right of abortion only to spite women, not because they care about the children that may or may not be born. And there's a great question as to whether or not overall we really do care about life, because there are people in this country right now who want life in this country, who are not getting life in this country, and they're being tossed out regardless of whether or not they want it or not. It just seems to me like we care more about people being born and being shells of individuals that we give a name and a number to and then shove off into society and hope they do well, rather than actually having a cultured set of individuals, or for a population, people that are who grow up, who have a good life and are able to contribute. I'm going to toss it over to Fatty, but thank you so much, everyone. It was nice to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alishness. And Fatty, to you, please. You are muted, sir.
Rookie mistake. Thank you very much, Sarah, for having me. And thank you very much to my partner and my opponents. If you guys missed me, I don't do opening statements when I am in pairs. I just want to say, if I am amoral, so be it. I'm here to win the debate. I'm not here to prove that I'm a righteous asshole like y'all. So let's have fun.
Wow, easy said and done. All right. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and a kind reminder to the audience. I believe all of these people on the screen are dual streaming. So please be sure to head over to their YouTube channels, TikToks, Instas, X's, whatevers, and click the like, subscribe, share, and definitely send them lots of your money. Also, reminder, we are going to get through our debate. I am going to shorten it slightly because our ladies turn into little princess pumpkins at a certain time. So we're going to end it at an hour and a half instead. And then, of course, we will open up the panel for Q&A. So if you have something to add to the conversation or a question to ask to the panelists, you'll be allowed to do that and join in. And then, of course, we'll move into full gauntlet mode if and only if you hit the dono goal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Okay, I think I want to push back a little bit. I mean, I barely even heard a argument for abortion from either. Obviously, I heard nothing from Fatty. I'm not even understanding his position at all. But even from Alishness, she went on some rant about Donald Trump. So I'd like to officially remove Christianity and Donald Trump from the conversation. Those two things have nothing to do with abortion. The only side bringing up religion so far has been the pro-choice side. So just in the sense of maybe we can just get this out of the way, this kind of idea that you have to solve every social issue before you can outlaw something that is clearly immoral. So you have to actually start with the basic moral foundation first. You have to determine if it is immoral or moral. And if it is immoral, then we have to get rid of it. If it is moral, then we can address the social issues. So let me give you an example of this. If I were to say, well, let's say we had slavery. This was back in slave times. And if I made a great argument for, you know what, if we ban slavery, there's going to be big economic issues for everybody. The economy will be a mess. And maybe I can even say to you that the slaves may suffer more. Maybe there won't be work for them. Maybe they'll be poor. Maybe they'll be homeless for a long time. I'll ask this to Alishness since she brought it up. Would you then tell me that we shouldn't ban slavery because the outcomes may be poor, or maybe we wouldn't have solved every social issue before outlawing the thing that is immoral?
I'm sorry. I was only half paying attention when you threw the question over to me, but
should we ban something if it is immoral, even if we don't have every outcome of that solved? Even if I say to you in this scenario of slavery, if I say to you, we agree slavery is wrong, should we have banned slavery even if the economic issues or if the slaves would have suffered post-slavery, but they still would have had their freedom? Was it still the right thing to do to ban slavery?
Yeah, but that's really not entirely the same thing at all, because you have a group of people who are already a community together. They already have a sense of community. They already have a plan that they can move forward to. They already have a sense of being able to fend for themselves. Whereas you're basically asking somebody who may or may not be ready for a child, who may or may not have even wanted the child, to actually just, go ahead and birth the child into a world that clearly doesn't want them, right?
Well,
So,
we're not forcing birth, we're preventing the killing of. And so you said something in your statement about you're forcing women to be nurturers, you're forcing them into this role of motherhood that they don't want. I'm actually not forcing them into anything. We are instead preventing them from killing. Do you
how are
understand?
you not forcing them to give birth? What
Well,
are they
if
gonna
the prevention of killing means that, yes, they will have to birth the child that already exists, but I am not forcing birth in the sense that I'm not saying, hey, when you're 18 years old, every woman has to go sign up to go get pregnant. That would be forcing birth, saying now it's time for you to go get pregnant. You're mandated by some law or something, and if you don't get pregnant, there's consequences. This is just a kind of disingenuous framing that the pro-choicers do to say that we're forcing them to give birth, when instead we're preventing them from killing something that already exists.
No, I mean, to be clear, you are forcing them. I mean, if the baby is there, it doesn't just disappear. It's going to have to come out, right?
If I can't kill my toddler, are you forcing me into parenthood, or are you preventing me from an act of violence? Do you see how we can frame it? However,
your frame is
that way because it's already there, right?
Your frame is actually ridiculous and proves our point. You are making if we said are you okay with aborting babies that are on the belly and they are soon to be slaves, they are condemned to be slaves until the end? There's actually a better question. These babies are not people. These fetus are not people. They are not babies still.
So what are they?
Let me finish
your thought, Fatty.
Let me finish my point.
Jump in after he's done.
Like Al said, you are comparing full human beings with fetus, right? My question to y'all is, if these babies were condemned to be slaves from the get-go, would that be moral to abort those babies?
No.
No. Why?
Because we wouldn't do that to would if I had a baby, let's say, I don't know, just to stay with your weird hypothetical, if my baby was born and she was 2 days old and for some reason someone came to me and said, oh, your baby's going to be a slave now.
That's not my hypothetical. You change it. You notice how you change it? Your baby your baby is because you changed the premise. The premise is not your baby is 2 years old. Your baby, you just got pregnant, miss. You just got pregnant. You have a fetus, and somebody says your baby is going to come to this world to be raped every day, to be enslaved, to be punished, to be whipped until the day that he dies. Is it moral to put that fetus and to go into 9 months of pregnancy and put this baby on the world to be literally the punching bag of the universe? Is that moral?
No, it would not be moral. And I've answered your question, your hypothetical.
I think we won the debate.
Hold on, Fatty. Let her finish her.
Did we won the debate already? That was quick.
She's got a clarifier. Go ahead with your clarifier.
Why would it be moral to kill an innocent human being just because they may experience suffering, or even if they're guaranteed to experience suffering? And the reason, Fatty, try to track this, that I was posing a hypothetical to you of saying, well, if my baby was born and she was 1 day out of the womb, so what you're actually getting at is the heart of the debate. So you're going to have to prove to me why a preborn baby is not a human being. That's just something you're granting yourself, but you have not made any sort of argument. What is the difference?
A baby is a living being that is independent, autonomous outside of the womb. 3 months embryo or 2 months embryo or a conjunction of cells inside of a woman's belly is not a baby. Just like a cake is only a cake when it's actually done and ready to go. Ingredients inside of the oven are not a cake. A cake is a cake once it's out. Okay. Now that I answered that, didn't you lose the debate by literally going against your moral, saying that I would not put the baby on this? So you are okay with abortion depending on certain conditions, right?
No, I said it would not be moral to have the abortion.
So that will be immoral, right?
It would not be moral. It would not be right to have the abortion, even if my baby was guaranteed suffering.
What, so you would want your
So
child
you would-
to suffer?
Yes.
My baby
Yeah, okay,
will suffer. My baby, I suffer. We all suffer. What are you talking
Okay.
about?
No.
Right,
Answer
let-
the question.
You guys are freaking insane on this.
No, answer
suffering
the
question.
question.
I'm going to help answer the question here.
Hold on, stop. She did answer. She said she would suffer. I would suffer. We all suffer. I think that's her
Suffering is
answer.
guaranteed to us.
We're doing the United Nations thing. That's crazy. We all suffer.
Okay,
Vibe,
so
did you
it's
wanna chime
crazy.
in here?
It is totally crazy that any of us could actually be a better human from suffering. Right now, the goal is not to suffer. However, some of the greatest humans have become great because of their suffering. Now, do I decide to delete a child in the womb because of suffering? If I know that child's going to suffer their whole life, am I going to delete them to alleviate them from that suffering? No, because I know that suffering can create greatness, right? Like, I don't even understand your guys' freaking conversation here. I don't even understand how fatty you're saying we won, because if a child suffers, you get rid of them. Where the freaking win is that? Explain that to me, Fatty. Explain to me, Fatty, how your suffering argument actually makes a win on abortion.
Because we deny your premise that is a baby is not a
So
baby.
you need to talk
Okay,
about
that wasn't even the premise. Your premise was suffering.
Once again, y'all premise is that babies inside of the belly are babies. Let's imagine a 3-week situation is a baby. And I said, if that situation, which is not a baby, because I denied the premise, if they were destined to a life of suffering and pain, would you put that amount of cells out in this planet, let it grow on your belly, and put it on your belly? The question
so
was,
you're actually asking two questions, Fatty.
No,
You're
I'm not asking
two
no questions.
Yeah,
I'm making a statement.
Okay, let me strongman this and tell me if I'm wrong. You're saying that there is a moment when it's not a baby or a human, and there is a moment when it's a human. And if it gets to the moment of the human, then you start talking about suffering, correct?
Your
that is
premise,
two questions.
Let me answer that. You can die if you were never alive. So once again, once you say killing a baby, is not killing a baby because that baby was never alive.
So
let me ask you this question though, Fatty.
Go ahead.
If when I was born with one cell, not two, I haven't even actually multiplied yet. At that moment, I have a specific DNA. That's my unique DNA. When I die at 90 years old, if you compare my DNA at 90 years old to my DNA of when I was one cell, they are identical. They are 100% identical. There's no change at all. So what you're saying is the whole functionality, and this is where the argument is going to go with you, Fatty, is basically that, well, because my brain hasn't developed, even though I was me, I have the same DNA at one cell. I have the same DNA at a billion cells. You're saying there's a certain amount of cells before I become me. That's your argument. Your argument.
My
argument. This many cells, right?
My argument is if I come on a sock and my DNA is on the sock, that doesn't make a mini me. It's just a sock.
You come on your sock.
That's your point.
That is
No,
not
that's
DNA.
your point. No, that's your
because
point.
There's two
that is
people
DNA.
involved in
No,
that.
your statement is going to be derailed because if a single piece of DNA, since the moment I inseminate the woman until I die, that makes that a living person. Let me finish because I caught you again. If your metric is DNA being put in a woman's body and it's the same piece of DNA since she was inseminated until she dies, you are saying that me coming on my sock, which has my DNA because that's my sperm, is the same thing as me killing. Is the same thing as me killing a billion of sperm cells because those sperm cells have my DNA. So
Can I give
my statement?
If I come in a sock, that's my DNA. Okay,
Hold on.
That's the point.
If I come in my sock, that's my DNA.
Sure.
If my sperm makes it to an egg, the DNA that is in that egg is not my DNA.
That's what you said. You change it now.
What is unique?
No. Let's stop it for a second. No. I will repeat your. I will repeat.
The single cell egg is not my DNA. Is the same DNA that you'll have when you die. Right now, if I take one cell of you and I look at that DNA and I look at the cell that your dad when he decided not to come in
Sure.
a sock and in your mother is the same DNA that makes you fatty.
So
the only fatty that ever will exist, the only fatty that will ever exist in this world and has this opportunity to be on this panel today at one cell, not a sock. That was you, and now same cell has the exact same DNA, and it's not the DNA of your dad's cum in a fucking sock.
You are changing the argument because yes you are, and I got you over there because once again, you said
stop.
Let me point it out, and then
hold on. Here's what we're gonna do, Fatty. You're gonna make your response, then we're gonna let Alishness go, and then we'll hand it back to either Taylor or Vibe. Go.
Yes, you are making a point about DNA. I can have 10 brothers that have the same DNA as mine. My sock has my DNA, even without me getting inside of a woman. Your point was that if you measure or if you go analyze the DNA from the beginning until the end of the life of a person, the DNA is there, which assumes that there's the human life there. And I'm telling you once again, if your metric is DNA, my sock and my towel and my whatever is full of my DNA, which is my sperm. So if you are going to use that metric to actually call it life, I am a serial killer more than Hitler, more than anybody probably on this planet actually alive. Your statement is ridiculous because if I analyze that dry sock that is over there that you don't see, you will find my DNA and nobody calls me a serial deleter. Respectfully. Now, Team Captain.
All right. So if we're using unique, you're using unique DNA as a qualifier, right? As a person that should not be removed. Because, tumors have unique DNAs. Should we not remove tumors? Even though they have a unique DNA?
Can I clarify the point that I think he's trying to make?
No. So he's talking about unique DNA. He says that when a sperm and an egg meet, they make a unique DNA.
Yeah,
right?
that's not the only qualifier, obviously.
Right, but that was one of the arguments he's making, and I'm asking you.
Do you want to actually understand the point that we're trying to make?
I'm in the middle of asking you a question, right?
Okay, go ahead. But you're going off a straw man, so go ahead. It's a waste of your time.
Really? Is it a straw man? Do you think,
really is.
Do you think that we should remove cancer, even though it is?
I'm happy to actually clarify I can clarify our position, and then you can actually engage with our position, which is that there's a difference between a sperm and an egg. When a sperm and an egg meet, they create a unique human organism. So what is a human organism? That starts at the moment of conception. So that is something that has unique DNA, but that, yes, it does. It is a human organism. So what is it, Alan Ishnas? You're shaking your head. What has happened when the sperm and the egg meet? It is an embryo, and then it goes through the stages. We just have names for the different stages of development: embryo, fetus, infant, toddler, teenager, adult. These are just stages of development. So a unique human organism contains human DNA. That's how we know it's human. It remains that organism. We know it's human. We know it's a whole organism because it is growing. It can have nutrients given the proper time, nutrients, and environment. It will continue to develop. So we value that unique human organism. It's not just about the DNA, but DNA is present. And his point about unique human DNA is that it is not of the mother, meaning it's not sperm, it's not of the or it's not an egg, it's not of the father, so it's not just sperm. I think you both know that. I think you know that there's a big difference between sperm and a fertilized human organism.
Yeah, you can argue that a fertilized egg is life, right?
That's not my position. That's science.
It's not. No, it's not science, because
99% of biologists agree that life begins at conception. That's fine.
Right. Life begins at conception, not a human being, right? Because
what species is it? What is it?
You're not going to get a human being until that life implants, right?
Oh, okay. So implantation that happens about
right. And then it starts actually replicating, and you get an actual equal or a unique amount of chromosomes.
Great. So you're fine with you're banning abortion after what, 24 hours then? Because that's when all of that occurs.
No. But I want to give you a hypothetical. Actually, it's not even a hypothetical.
I would love
hypothetical. One. So let's say you have a child, or you have not even a child. If you have a fetus that it has a chromosome deletion, there's no chance that this egg will grow into a child that will have any sort of quality of life. In fact, as soon as it comes out, he or she might pass away or die immediately. Is that worth sitting through 9 months just to watch it die in front of you? Is that worth it to you? Is that the morality that you want?
That's a tragic situation. I'm not going to say like that's not a tragic situation, but again, what you guys need to contend with before, and I'll answer this, I'm not evading it, I will answer you, but what we need to contend with first is what is in the womb. Because if we don't contend with what that is, and then you guys want to throw out all these kind of insane hypotheticals about it, because I would say, Alish, like, let's say I had a cryptic pregnancy, meaning I didn't know I was pregnant through all 9 months, and then I gave birth, and it turns out that baby had, let's say, a similar disability to what you're describing, where she's going to live, let's say, for a full day in pain and agony. Could I just kill her then? Just yes or no? Like, could I kill her the moment she is born just to prevent that 24 hours of suffering?
And just to jump on the back of Taylor on this particular.
Could you kill her? No.
Let Taylor run the line of logic.
What was your answer?
Could you kill her? No.
Could anyone? Why couldn't I? Well, could anyone? Could you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing as if you were to pull the plug on somebody who is
wait, I just want to clarify your position. I want to clarify. So let's say if I had a baby and she was guaranteed to suffer for 24 hours, she was in pain, could I just end her life then, suffocate her with a pillow, and that would be morally justified?
So if it's a cryptic pregnancy, this is not a realistic thing because you would have no idea. Nobody would have any idea. It would just like pop out and you'd be like, oh shit. And
right.
Then you hit it with a pillow, right? But you don't know that if you're having a cryptic pregnancy. I don't know why this is even something you're bringing up. This isn't.
I'm offering you a hypothetical.
This isn't really a logical hypothetical.
It is.
If you're having a cryptic pregnancy, you're not going to know the DNA. You're not going to know anything about the child until
they're born. The doctor takes one blood test in an hour and says, you know what, the next 24 hours of your daughter's life, she's going to be in pain. She's going to sadly pass away. That's her fate.
Yeah, and they might hand you. What they might do is they might give you skin to skin. They might.
I'm asking you. Yeah. You're not answering the question. I'm asking you, is it morally justifiable to then suffocate her with a pillow to prevent the suffering?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
I guess
there you go, guys.
To do that. I mean, they're going to probably let it, they're probably going to give her to you, put her on your chest, and unfortunately.
That's not the question.
It's the reality. That's the reality, though.
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm sorry that audience have you.
I mean, you're willing to have somebody who gets a sonogram or who gets genetic testing, who has a chromosome deletion, and they know that
I actually value people more than their ability. I'm not an ableist.
No. You don't understand what a chromosome deletion does, right?
I understand. I do.
What is a chromosome deletion?
If you want to talk about the specific, like Tri-5, or is that what you're talking about? The ones where
that is a chromosome addition. I'm talking about a chromosomal deletion.
You can state the most painful, awful situation, and I'm not going to admit that it's morally justifiable to kill an innocent human being just because they may have suffering, or my job as a parent may prove harder.
No. This is not that. Okay, so a chromosomal deletion would result in the child having something like hydrocephaly, or their organs will be developed outside of their body, or they have like a sort of they have no ability to even have consciousness.
Just to make sure, so there's no situation where would you think that there will be moral to end a person's life?
Here's the thing
I do.
I want to just throw out there is this is the way abortion conversations always go.
Yeah,
so 99% of people in the world get abortions because, oops, I got pregnant. Now we're diving into the 1%. So we're not even trying to solve the actual problem here. Now we're diving into the rare scenarios, right? And by the way, Taylor said, yes, we can address these. We're not scared of them. We can talk about grape. We can talk about incest. We can talk about all these things. But that is 1% of all abortions. 99% of abortions are about, oops, I made a mistake. And now you guys want to move the whole conversation into the 1%. Let's stick to the 99%.
We can do that. Just to make sure. Right? No. Just to make sure we talk about majority.
No,
1 second. No, let's get rid of this 1% so we can talk. Yeah, no, let's get rid of
Go
the
ahead,
1% so we can talk about this 99. So y'all are okay with somebody?
We're gonna
One
solve the
second.
1%
No,
problem. That's the way we do things.
One second, friends.
Oh,
I want
go
y'all.
ahead, Patty.
I want
Go
y'all.
ahead,
I want y'all to stand on something so we can move to the majority. So y'all are okay with 1% of women being raped and all
No.
these
No.
rare things. Oh, so there's no situation where do you think me deleting? Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please.
Let me allow me for just a moment, Fatty, if you don't mind. I know we had the conversation backstage about interrupting. Let's be mindful because if we keep doing it, it's going to end up being crazy, and then I can't hear anyone. Fatty, if you'd like to continue uninterrupted.
Yes, I just want to make sure, since we want to talk about the majority. So for y'all, there's no the 1%. You want that situation to go through, even if the woman is raped, even if the kid is going to have some massive deformities. Like, you are not okay with terminating the pregnancy no matter what.
I'll answer that. There is a very small percentage of abortions that I think can be justified, and that would be in very specific cases of life of the mother. Now, those are insanely rare, and pro-choicers like to act like they happen all the time, and they are not justifiable post-viability. So after 20 weeks, they are not justifiable, but something before 20 weeks, if the pregnancy is a real threat to the mother's life and the only option is termination of a pregnancy, I would say then it is justified to end the life of an innocent human. Just like I can think of scenarios that don't have to do with abortion, that it would be justifiable to kill innocent people.
Can you give me an example?
Sure.
Can you give me an example?
Yes, let's say there's a skyscraper full of people. There's an airplane that's going to fly into the skyscraper. This airplane's going to crash no matter what. So maybe then it would be justifiable to shoot down the airplane to then save the life of the people in the skyscraper. So I think that's analogous to, let's say, an ectopic pregnancy, where the egg is the fetus is growing in the embryo is growing in the fallopian tube, and it will not survive because it's in the wrong location. So it will never become big enough to live outside of the womb. But left in the fallopian tube, it will kill the mother. So in that, it's the same airplane, skyscraper scenario.
That's fair.
Is justifiable.
That's totally fair. Any medical condition that you support that?
So again, life of the mother scenarios are very rare, and again, post 20 weeks, it is not justifiable.
No. You misheard my question. Any situation where the kid or the person is already out and you are okay with, hey, we need to end your life, and not committing crimes, not like a medical situation. Where do you stand on that?
Can you give me an example of like something?
No, I'm asking you. Since you are very, no, 1 second, please. No, I'm not being I'm not being vague. For example, I believe in euthanasia, for example, right? When people are in a tremendous amount of pain and they can't get rid of it, and they, like, for example, I think it's the cluster headaches that are probably the most massive pain that a human being can suffer. I'm okay with assistance for that person to transition to a place where they will be better, according to y'all Christians, right? So is there any place on your situation, is that anything where a person can be sick, whatever circumstance, where you are okay with terminating their life?
They are free to terminate their life. That I don't think that they should. I don't think that's a good thing to do. But no, I don't think it's ever a good thing to do to intentionally take the life. It is generally not a good thing to do to take the life of innocent human beings.
I didn't ask you if it was intentional. I said if there's any circumstance where you would be okay. There's a no?
Why would that not be intentional? That would be a murder.
Is that a no? Is that a firm no?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay, it's because I actually... I kind of play dumb, but I did the homework on you, and you were okay with pulling the plug to people that literally was brain dead. You said that. 1 second, please. I saw your debate with popcorn and pizza, and you literally said that when a person is brain dead, there's the loss of consciousness. So now it's okay to pull the plug. Is a 23-week, is a 7-week-old fetus somebody that has consciousness?
So I'm interested in providing proportionate medical care for people. And so right now we don't have the technology to bring back people from a brain dead state. So taking them off, let's say, a heart-lung machine, that would be proportionate care to remove that care. Like, providing that forever is disproportionate care. Now, again, this is very different than going into a healthy, growing fetus inside of a pregnant situation and intentionally ripping it out and killing it. That's a very different scenario.
You are a great. Everybody quiet. You are a great dancer. You are. I'm talking with Taylor. You are a great dancer, but you didn't ask the question. Okay. Your claim was when the brain is dead, the permanent loss of conscious experience is through death, so it's acceptable to pull the plug. This is what you said. So now I'm going to ask you: is a 7-week embryo with cells, whatever you can call it, does it have a consciousness? If you can pull the plane to a plug to a person that is brain dead because they don't have consciousness, is a 7-week-old embryo somebody that has consciousness? Answer, please.
Okay.
Actually, Fatty, let me ask you a question.
No, I'm not talking to you. No, favor. No, I'm talking with her.
My partner.
No, I need to talk with her.
This is a debate team here.
Stop. Hold on, though. Fatty was asking a line of logic, and I'd like to see it completed before we move on. And then,
all right. And you know what? I know Taylor can answer it.
Go ahead, Taylor.
But Fatty, you gotta lower your voice, dude. I'm getting those cluster headaches you're talking about. Like, let's relax. Like, it's
because your brain can listen and look at such a handsome man. It's like it's short.
I am going to answer all your questions at any decibel you ask them. Okay. So again, my difference here is the providing of proportionate medical care, right? And so if we had the medical care to sustain brain, like I would call a brain dead person somebody with a severe disability. I wouldn't even really call them dead, but I would say that it is not proportionate medical care to keep them on a heart-lung machine forever. When if we took them off of that, naturally they would decompose because their brain cannot oxygenate, like they cannot communicate with their other organs, and so giving them this kind of artificial help is disproportionate if we know that their brain is damaged to a certain extent. Now, the difference between that and a 7-week-old, and I'm actually glad you asked this, Fatty, because it's giving me a clue as to what you seem to value. So it seems like you value consciousness. And so would you say that consciousness, because if not, why do you care about consciousness? What's the line?
This is why I did. This is why I did an opening statement. I'm using Taylor against Taylor. Who is the Taylor that is right? The Taylor that said that she's okay with ending the human life when she pulls the plug because there's no consciousness, or the Taylor that says that the 7-week embryo should be able to live? Consciousness is, respectfully, the last time I'm going to answer. If you don't answer, you lost the debate. Is a 7-week embryo, whatever you call it, as consciousness? If yes, prove it. If no, you lost. Go ahead.
Okay, you have to actually let me answer. So a 7-week-old does not have consciousness in the way that you're probably valuing consciousness. And you know who else doesn't have that level of consciousness? A newborn baby. So someone that's born freshly 1 day old. And I know. And the thing is I'm actually not valuing consciousness. That's not the thing that I value as a line of life and death. And so again, this does nothing for my position.
What do you mean?
So we just consider that you lost. So you are saying this embryo as consciousness, this human embryo as consciousness.
Have that? Crazy.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking. So you're telling me that this human embryo is a? No, let me ask you. Well, Taylor, is this human embryo a baby?
Fatty.
Is this a human baby? Please answer.
Yes. Well, I mean, maybe maybe not. I don't.
No, Taylor. Just to make sure.
Is
this human embryo a human baby? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. It might be. It might not be. But even if I'm wrong, it doesn't mean anything.
Hey, you can recognize babies. I can recognize a baby. This is a baby. Goo goo gaga. This is not a baby, according to you. This is not a human baby.
I mean, I can't even engage with this.
Hey, Vibe, this is a Vibe. Hey, Vibe, according to you, is this a human baby?
Let's open it up to Vibe and Alice and see if they can try to connect.
Hey, Sarah, can this Vibe answer this? Is this a human baby, Vibe, according to your
doctrine? With this, because even
I'm asking Vibe, is this a human baby according to your religious fanatics?
Yeah. Vibe. Okay. First off, nobody talked about religion. Second off, if I show all of you guys 5,000 different cells and ask you to say which one's an elephant, which one's a human, which one's a cat, none of you can answer that. So your little example there, Fatty, is just fucking show.
No, you can
show. That's all you're doing right now.
So Sarah, you can decipher from a cat baby and a hippopotamus baby and a bird baby? You can't?
Nobody can from one cell.
No, y'all can't. No, y'all can't, because y'all say those are babies.
Ridiculousness. Oh my God, you're so.
So a baby is a baby, but you can recognize a baby.
Oh my God.
You got it. Go ahead.
All right, and so now let's follow your logic right here. You're talking about Taylor, and she said brain dead, and you're like going on this brain dead thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is the chance of recovery of consciousness and humanness from brain dead versus the ability of consciousness and brain development from a single cell baby?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
It's not a single cell.
You don't know that?
I don't know. I don't know. And on the balance of probabilities, you have no idea what that baby is going to become. It's just a percentage.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask Al then. Let me talk to Al. Al, what is the possibility of a clinically brain dead person, brain coming back alive and becoming a fully functional human versus a single cell coming into a fully capable person? Tell me what the chances are of those two.
I'm gonna say 1%.
1%.
Yeah.
Because
you're assuming
full humans.
No, because what you're assuming is that like this single cell is going to immediately become like what a fetus and then a human. Like you think that it happens 100% of the time. Like.
So you're saying 1% of the time when somebody is inseminated, that the pregnancy actually comes to full term, if not deleted by you guys.
What do you mean not deleted? It could be deleted by the human body. Like, are we gonna?
Okay. So only 1%.
Like what?
So of all fertilizations, only 1% of them turn into babies.
I don't have a statistic. What do you want? 50-50, like it does or it doesn't? Is that what you're looking for?
No, actually, it's completely irrelevant. My point was actually is how much higher of a chance does a impregnated woman have of having a brain intelligent child versus a brain dead person coming back to life? And like this is what Fatty's fighting for. He's saying Taylor is wrong because she's okay taking somebody off of life support if they're brain dead. Mm-hmm. I'm asking,
that's not what I said.
Person, how many of them turn back into people?
That's not what I said.
What do you mean turn back?
Okay,
no, that's not what I said.
Hold on a second, because I see where we're going with the brain dead person versus a fetus, right? And I just want to make sure we all understand we're kind of moving on two different playing fields here.
We are in a circle. Right.
And here's why, if you'll oblige. A brain dead person, you are simply just removing care. You are not actively killing them. You are just removing care that would have not been there naturally, versus a baby in a womb would naturally be in the womb. We are going in and actively removing it. So they are two they're backwards to each other in terms of how we're operating. So I don't know if we want to continue using this as the example, because they are two different actions. One is actually an inaction. We're just removing care. The other is an active action.
And you are focused on the wrong thing. It's not about the brain dead. It's about her statement about pulling the plug because there's an absence of consciousness. So if her point is consciousness, I can literally take the point of consciousness, putting on an embryo and saying this embryo clearly have no consciousness.
And that wasn't my point. And I've answered this already. And that I've already told you I don't value consciousness. That's not the value that I'm putting on a human being. And
you don't value consciousness?
Even if I did, Fatty, even if I said, you know what, the end of life is when consciousness is no longer possible, right? Is no longer possible. If I said that, the actual the flip side of that would be then life begins when consciousness is possible, right?
So,
and it's not even, let me finish. It's not even possible. It's probable, right? Because we understand that that's how human development works. And so again, I'm not the one valuing consciousness here. You guys are. So you have to make the case for why consciousness is so important. We are saying that human life is valuable. Point. That's it.
No, this is actually beautiful. Prove it. Prove that a 1 day pregnancy, that thing that is inside of that woman has consciousness. Prove it.
It's not. It doesn't. But neither does my newborn in this way. Because Fatty, can you define consciousness? What is conscioiousness? It's your whole argument.
I don't know. No. This is your point.
It's not. Do you want to?
Taylor.
I mean,
Taylor.
you can't even try.
Taylor.
It's such a waste of time.
Taylor. Your argument was I'm okay with terminating somebody's life, because when a person is brain dead, they don't have consciousness. The consciousness is gone.
That was not my point. My point was that we do not have to provide disproportionate medical care for severely brain disabled people, brain injured people. Just like if someone could that's the truth. And so what Vibe was trying to get at is this consciousness experience, and I'm only entering the consciousness space because you guys brought it up. It seems like that's what you value, but no one even understands what your position is. You haven't even stated anything about your position. I assume Fatty's fine with abortion up until the moment. No, I'm assuming you're fine with abortion up until the moment of birth. Yes or no? You're fine with it all 9 months? No. Why? When do you stop?
Because the fetus is not viable outside of the womb. Once the fetus is viable outside of the womb for the 23rd, 24th week, then is when I consider alive, because the fetus can sustain himself. They can be put in care, and now they can actually grow. So now that you have my position, go ahead.
What, Allison? Do you agree with him? Do you put a point? 24 weeks? Why? Because of viability?
No, it's not 24 weeks. But what we're describing here is
is a third trimester.
If we have a fetus that is viable outside of the womb, in other words, we can remove the life support and the child can survive without major medical interventions, such as the lungs aren't going to be developed or whatever. But I actually kind of want to bridge the gap with this in two ways. Number one, I'm going to ask you your metric for whether or not a person is conscious if we're using excessive medical intervention to keep them alive, such as what?
Like if a doctor were to say, okay, this person has a severe brain injury, it's very unlikely, let's say chances are incredibly unlikely that this person will come back. Obviously, but I don't even think it's if a family was well, I want to keep them on life support because maybe they'll wake up. I don't think that's unreasonable. But what I'm saying is it's not immoral to remove that disproportionate medical care, right? Because again, we're breathing for them, we're doing the things that if we were to remove them, their brain would stop allowing their organs to function as a cohesive human organism. And that's what I'm saying I'm valuing, is the cohesive whole human organism. The parts are working together as a whole. That's the thing I value.
Okay, so I want to bring up a very specific case. You know Adriana Smith?
It was she passed away and they kept the baby. Is that the one? Yes. And that was something that the parents wanted, by the way. That was something that that's what they stated. That was a completely misrepresented case in the media. But even so, I mean, again, you guys aren't
what do you mean the parents wanted it? One of the parents was dead. What do you mean?
Her parents wanted her. The parents of Adriana Smith were the ones that were her medical people, what do you call that? A will or whatever. That was wanting that baby to survive. They were the.
Okay, so it was because of Georgia's heartbeat law, was it not? But because you think it's moral, right?
No, you find they wanted it. They were fighting for that situation to be happening. That wasn't something that was just done because of the law. That was something that they wanted. They didn't want their grandchild to die as well.
I don't believe that. I would like to see evidence of where that is true.
I don't have it on my person, but
okay, yeah. But you think it's moral. You think it's completely moral for somebody who is brain dead, like you already described. You would remove them from support because they are no longer a human being. They no longer have consciousness, but you would rather have a fetus grow inside of them, their rotting corpse.
I don't want that, no. But again, I don't think it's unreasonable for the parents to not want to lose their grandchild as well. What's unreasonable about that?
What quality of life is the
why? Yeah, you're so concerned with quality of life. So
yes, I am concerned with quality of life because I'm not pro.
Should I go and kill all the homeless people right now because they're having a bad quality of life?
Okay, I don't think you understand what quality of life is outside of these extremes. You don't just go kill people.
I'm the extreme. You guys are
yeah, you are. So no, when I talk about quality of life, I'm talking about the fetus is literally inside of the rotting parent. She's not alive, right? She's literally dead. Her corpse is rotting around, and you think it's moral for them to
Okay. Does the fetus have any differentiation in the quality of life? And by the way, if the corpse is dead, does it have? And as Taylor said, wouldn't it be great that like if I had a daughter that died but she had a baby, am I going to terminate the baby if I can bring that grandchild into my world and continue her legacy?
You should.
I actually.
Yeah, we should, shouldn't we?
Yes, you should, because by the way, honey, your mom died, and then you were in her rotting corpse for 6 months.
What the fuck?
I know you have. Who talks like that? First of all, second of all, I think the kid would be like,
the kid's gonna grow up and be like, "What was mommy like?" And what are you gonna be like? Oh, she was dead. Actually, she was.
There
dead.
is something really wrong with
I know.
No, there's something really wrong. There's something really wrong with people who watch like a rotting corpse incubate a fetus, and it's like, no, that's fine. That we
you know what,
Allison? Going.
I'll like give you like I'll bridge the gap here. I don't think that it would be wrong either way. Like I can see both sides of that scenario. Do I think that you were like obligated to have the abortion or something, or not keep her alive? Like I think that it. Again, I would define that as disproportionate medical care, keeping her alive to kind of incubate the baby. I would say that's disproportionate. So I don't think we have a moral obligation to keep that woman alive to house a baby. Like I think that nature took its course. That woman died. The baby would tragically pass away. Do I think that it was a wrong, awful thing that they did? No. And I think if you actually look into that story and see what the parents were fighting for, and as a mother, I would want my daughter to survive no matter what. I mean, that's something that if that was me, I would be happy that my daughter wasn't also dead. But again, I would probably classify as that disproportionate medical care. So we've engaged with all of your guys as like insane hypotheticals. So again, now you need insane all the rare cases as well as hypotheticals. So now you have to try to actually talk about your position. And so Allison, you told me that you care about viability, which is that's when, so you would say no abortions past 24 weeks. You would say that is immoral. Yes or no?
I don't, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what 24 weeks is. I would say like
that's around viability. That's around
third trimester.
Yes, more or less.
What do you mean more or less?
Yes, I mean, it's been a minute since I had a kid, but yes, I think it's so 20 people usually say 24 weeks because that's around the time of viability, meaning that the earliest was like 19 weeks that a baby was born that survived outside of the womb.
So I would consider any child that can survive outside of the womb without major medical intervention to be viable. Now, do I think that somebody should decide whether or not, like at the fucking, what is it, like 36 or 35 weeks and 19 or 35 weeks and whatever days that like, oh nope, I don't want it anymore, chop that? No, that's completely ridiculous, because at that point they're just being absurd, right? So there is a point, but I think
trying to get to your point.
Yeah, trying to find the line when there really is no line, because each person is different, is like difficult to kind of like.
So what if they were 35 weeks and again, if it was like a cryptic pregnancy, they had no idea, they weren't in an economic position. What if they were poor and they couldn't, there was just like an awful situation, 35 weeks, can they have the abortion?
No, I'm going to say no.
So there's clearly a line that you're drawing here. Can you try to tell me why it's bad at 35 weeks and not, let's say, it's 8 weeks? What's the difference?
So the difference would be the same reason your difference is that the person, or that the fetus has an actual chance at life, right? Like actual outside of the womb chance of life without medical intervention.
Does the 8-week-old
if we remove life support, is that fetus going to continue living?
A pregnancy is not life support. This is where the child's natural place, this is where we all came from. This is the child's natural environment, which we are all entitled to. We all had to come through the world through this. This is not disproportionate medical care, Alshis. This is normal as it gets. This is not disproportionate medical. This is ordinary care. This is not extraordinary care. This is not disproportionate care. This is ordinary care.
35 weeks. 35 weeks is 8 months. We are not psychos like y'all.
No leg to stand on here.
No. Respectfully, only there's one side that is actually sensible. We understand that 8 months is an atrocity. Y'all want women to carry babies out of grapes. Y'all are the ones that are not sensible. We are the moral ones because we stand the line where a life is a life. Nobody wants. Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. So you can go to your point. Nobody on this side defends that 8-month pregnancy, you should grab the baby and throw it to the trash. Now that you got that established, what is the point?
So Fatty, I just want to.
No, she is asking things. Let her get to the point.
I'm just going to throw something out there.
No, Taylor, what was your point of asking her dad?
Have one thing in common.
Taylor, what was your point of that asking her dad?
Survivors.
What?
What?
We're all abortion Holocaust survivors, right?
What does that mean?
That means you didn't get aborted. None of us on this panel got aborted. We are survivors of the Holocaust of abortion.
So a person that aborted the baby is a killer.
A Holocaust.
Yes, that is the point.
That is the point. No, 1 second. So do you know somebody that an abortion, acquaintances, family member, people that you debated on these shows that are in favor of that and did abortion? Did you ever talk with them, interacted with them? Did you ever do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking with killers?
I believe.
Why are you debating murderers?
If you can't ask a question and let someone answer, you should not.
No, but the question. No, 1 second, because he was the one making the point. I want to answer him. If these people are murderers and killers, why are you debating, mingle with them? Why are you doing that?
Isn't that what debate and Discord's about?
No, if these people are killers and y'all moral, these people. 1 second, please.
Hold on.
These people are the scourge of the earth. These people shouldn't be in any way, shape, or form next to us. This is your moral standard.
As predicted, I knew you would have nothing to add to this particular debate because you are amoral.
And he's just screaming.
I'm going to lower my microphone, right? I'm going to lower my microphone.
Just your energy, man. Like,
no. But that's the thing. My energy doesn't miss the fact that this man said that people that committed abortions are the leaders. So my question is, once again, if I add your moral compass, because y'all are the moral people, a murderer will never be next to me on a podcast with me, whatever. I am a YouTuber too. I wouldn't invite a murderer. I wouldn't, because this is repugnant, especially from a person that is moral. Why are y'all on YouTube, moral people that think that deleting a baby is killing a baby, having conversations with the person that did the most egregious thing in this planet? Why is this entertainment for y'all? Go ahead.
So this is really simple. I'm going to try to keep it calm because you're so excited. This is one of my biggest fears and one of the things I hate the most. Like, we have standardized this whole idea, what you guys are trying to go to, and basically saying that a human life actually isn't a human life. We are trying to erase. We're basically brainwashing women, and I don't think women are guilty for getting abortions. I think they're so well brainwashed in the sense that for their own convenience, they don't feel that this is murder. Should we punish a woman for getting abortion? Should we charge her for murder? I don't think so, because I think we've corrupted the system so much that they don't even understand that it's murder. We actually have devalued life so much when it's in the womb that now we actually are believing that saving the whales is more important than saving a child. And this is great. Being a vegan is more important than saving a child. It's freaking crazy how much. Fatty, you are fucking brainwashed out of my fucking mind. I can't even believe it. Like you believe this thing that there is no value to human life. And I don't even understand where you guys are coming from on this.
Did you answer my question?
So simple.
No, you rambled for 2 minutes. I wouldn't let my daughter hanging around murderers. Is inconceivable. You are the moral people. You have to explain me, Vibe, once again. Why would you get on a panel with a murderer, somebody that probably deleted more people than just one? Why do you use this? Why would you sit next to a person and debate with a murderer according to your morality? Why would you do that?
Okay,
this is really
answer the question.
Hold on. Taylor wanted to answer it.
Okay, number one, because nobody is too far from the capability to obtain grace and to repent. So that's
No. We don't use God. That was our rules.
Daddy, at least let her finish, please. She's answering your question.
Number
Let her
two.
do it uninterrupted.
To go off of what Vibe is saying, we live in a culture where certain things were deadened to certain wrongs and certain evils. Much like in the time of slavery, it was not even a question to have a slave. This was just something that was accepted. Unfortunately, this is the society we live in. Number three, having conversations with people is something that helps to change the culture. So engaging with debates, talking with people that have different opinions with you. This is how you change culture. This is how you challenge people's logic. I have also, Fatty, had many conversations and heard many stories of women that have had abortions and came to deeply, deeply regret it. And they call themselves murderers. They say, I killed my child and I deeply regret it. And they suffer greatly for that.
Okay.
So would you say to those women, you're delusional. You're not a murderer. That's just a clump of cells. How would you respond to a woman that comes to deeply, deeply regret her abortion? Is she insane?
Let me answer that, right?
Please
First of
answer
all,
it.
let me answer, okay?
Quietly.
Let me answer. First of all, no, you are the woman. You need to know your place. First of all,
You're just
okay?
giving me a headache, man. My head just hurts.
The God, man, woman, and children. Know your place, woman. Second one, and now we talking.
That's your side, girl.
One second, not my partner, because she's above me. She's tip captain, okay? First of all, you established rules on the beginning of the show saying we are going to let religion out of this because you are a poor debater and you actually don't want to defend how you got your morals. No, let me finish, please, so I don't have to scream over you, woman. First of all, you said that. All of a sudden, when you are in a pickle and my team leader actually corner you, now you're talking about repentance and all that, right? So I'm going to ask you this, Miss Taylor. Since you believe in repentance, but these women are murderers, when somebody is a serial deleter, we give him the death penalty or life in prison. You're talking about repentance and all that. Let's assume that you're talking with a woman that committed 3 abortions, but she changed her mind and she gave herself to God, and now she repents that. She doesn't want to do it anymore. She's delivered. Would you
You've never lost this bad, have you?
Would you punish that woman with life in prison or death, just like we do with serial deleters that actually kill real people in real life? What would you do with those women that repented themselves but still have 3 killings according to y'all? What would you do?
Sure. So in my ideal world, when we kind of shift the culture and eventually abortion becomes unthinkable and outlawed, I'm fine with imprisoning abortion providers and women that obtain abortions, just like I'm fine with imprisoning women that kill their 2-year-old. I don't think there's anything inconsistent about that.
I will ask again. I didn't ask on your ideal world. On the ideal world, everybody would ride ponies and have Ferraris and have food and shelter, and the powerful girls will defeat the girl. On the perfect world.
That's your perfect world, by the way. That's not everybody's perfect world.
No, sir. On these worlds right now, 2026, according to these laws.
I'll answer that.
Okay. So what would you do?
So unfortunately, I don't have the power to imprison anybody for their crimes. Right. And so we have to work within the system that we have. So even if let's say I was in the time of slavery and I really felt like slavery was a great injustice, we work with what we have. So we can protest, we can explain to people why slavery is wrong, and then hope that one day it is outlawed and justice is served. Today in 2026, that is the best that we can do within the current system. So that's why I'm talking about my ideal. But today, then you're asking why we're talking to murderers and abortionists, because
you didn't answer the question.
I did. Thank you very much.
If Taylor is the queen, princess, empress of the world,
now you're adding that.
No, it's because you have the power. You are here preaching morality. You shit. This is powerful because I want to change people's minds. You think these people are killers. We don't. So now you are going to exactly tell me what happens to a three-time woman that repented herself, but she committed 3 abortions. Now she's delivered. Now she believes in God. Is she going to get life? 1 second. Is she going to get life in jail? Is she going to get the death penalty?
I'm the queen princess of the world. That's what you said. I can imprison her. Sure, she can go to prison for life, and she can have a great relationship with God there. I mean,
is that moral though?
Is that moral?
Yes, I think it's actually very moral to serve justice. I think it's one of the most moral things you can do.
You think it's okay?
So
you think
I thought you wanted to reform.
Can you let Alishness talk?
It's because I thought you wanted to reform them. Now you want to punish them. You change your tune.
Okay.
I remember when she said I want to reform them, and now she's saying
reform can't happen together
in jail.
Can I just throw something in?
Are you gonna
stop?
Everybody
settle down.
Okay. So
I think, Fatty, that was in terms of your debate. Like, why are you debating with people on a panel who have said to whatever? So I just want to clarify that. But let's all kind of level it down a little bit. Vibe and Alish, I want to let the two of you kind of jump in here and try to balance the panel back out.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had originally had mentioned that we've gotten so brainwashed, and we were talking about when does a child become a baby, right? I think both Alish and Fatty both agree that if it's out of the womb, and you kill it, that's definitely murder. I think they had some varying views on the amount of months before that's murder, but they're basically basing their whole murder conversation on consciousness, right? So it's like, when is that baby actually know it's being?
No, we're not basing it on
not consciousness. Scientific proof
viability.
that the fetus is viable outside of the womb. It's science, not consciousness. Yes, go ahead.
So the moment that you can cut it out of the womb, even if it's early, that it can survive if I put it on a plate, right?
Sure.
Well, I don't know why you put it on a plate, but sure.
Not on the plate, on an incubator. Let's go with the incubator.
Let me put it this way.
Okay.
Let me flip the role. So, like, if the mother dies and she is pregnant, and immediately we can give her a cesarean section, remove the child, and it's viable, that would be necessarily like that child is viable. That is a living child, right?
Right.
So that'll be removing life support. If we were, life support is going to be the word that I'm going with. If it can live off of life support, then it is viable. Right.
But newborns need life support too, right? Because they need to be. They're not independent. They're dependent on somebody. They're dependent. You cannot just put them in a room and walk away. You have to use your body. You have to feed them. You have to do these things. So you can't just value dependence. And you keep using the word living. The thing in the womb, whatever you want to call it, is living. You have to just contend with that. It is.
I wonder where your line is.
I'm talking with Alishness.
I'm not talking, Taylor. I noticed the sexual tension, but I don't date white women. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Because I'm wondering where your actual line is, because it seems like you're willing to.
My line's very clear.
No. It seems like your line for like whether or not a person has morals or what the morals are is like, if the person has committed murder, have they not committed murder? Because it seems like you're willing to have a human life, in other words, a mother who may have gotten an abortion, they were in a bad part of their life, they weren't able to actually sustain the child, and you're willing to put her in prison. So is her life no longer worth anything? Because you're kind of taking her life and making it not worth anything.
Alishness, if I go and murder my 2-year-old tomorrow and you put me in prison, are you saying my life isn't worth something? Or are you saying that I'm serving time for the crime I've committed?
You just said that her life's not worth anything because you're putting her in prison for life for an abortion. So no, you're not valuing her life.
People in prison don't have worth? Should we just kill everyone in prison? They have no worth?
We don't give a
lot of worth to people in prison because you're so flippantly throwing them in prison.
Wait, y'all not in favor of the death penalty?
My question would also...
I'm flippantly throwing them in for murder. Yeah, that's so casual.
Wait, so you're not in favor of the death penalty?
Would you throw the father in too? Is it just the mother the onus falls on?
If the father did it, sure, he can go to prison.
What do you mean the father did it? The father did do it.
He did do
it? The father made the child. The father made the fetus, did it not?
If the father was complicit in the abortion, sure, he can go to prison. Just like if the father of my child was complicit in her murder, I'd hope he served time.
Right, but what value? Where's the line on value of whether or not a person has value? Because he's bringing up a good point.
When they're a human being.
If let's say somebody committed 40 abortions, they had 40 abortions, they were, but they were otherwise a really good person. They gave to charity, they gave all of their money to whatever, they did amazing, wonderful things, but they had 40 abortions. And would you give them the death penalty?
I don't
their
believe.
life-
I don't believe in the death penalty, so no.
You
I
don't
would put
believe
them
in
in
the
the
death
death
I don't
penalty.
believe in the death penalty either. However, in this particular
Really?
scenario, if we were to change the wind, okay, and I'm just going to be really subtle about this. If we were to change the wind, any woman that gets an abortion, I would not ever actually accuse them of being murderers, although I do feel like they are. But I also know that they don't feel like they are, right? They didn't think they were accused or murdering because it's so accepted. The left has pushed them so hard and brainwashed them so hard that they actually don't feel the guilt. Some do. But as we move as a society forward and realize it actually is murder, once we get to that point and once everybody knows it actually is murder, then yes, I would actually start saying in the future, once everybody knows that we're killing babies, like it's so crazy. Like we're arguing about killing babies. I can't believe you guys are even like on
The
this
ignorance
side.
of the law, the ignorance of the law is not excuse to break the law.
No,
We all know this.
but I'm not going to I'm not going to put.
I agree with Fatty here. I'm fine punishing abortion.
So are you
I
willing
am
to give up the
too,
Second
but I
Amendment
just
then?
think that we've gone so far on
But
the
I'll
wrong
just-
side that we have to have a window to slide once
I
everybody
get that.
realizes killing babies is wrong. That then we start going, okay, now
Sure,
we all
when they
agree,
become
we
babies, right?
We finally figured it out. We don't kill people. We just don't
No,
kill people.
no,
That's what we
Vibe.
don't do.
So Vibe,
you're-
but this is
It's a universal rule.
no
So you're
Vibe, but
okay with the
the
Second Amendment going away, right?
Huh?
You're okay with the Second Amendment going away?
No.
What are
Why?
you talking about?
Why? What do you need a gun for if you're not going to kill anybody?
Okay. You guys keep on changing the topic.
It's not
Yeah,
changing the
what?
topic. You're talking about you don't believe you think
Are
that it's
you
murder.
defending murder, Aloysius? Is that what you want to do today?
No, you're saying that you're pro-life. You don't believe in the death penalty. You think that everything we shouldn't be murdering people. So do you
Yeah,
think that it's
hot
okay?
take.
Right. So you're okay with the Second Amendment going away, so that we no longer have any chance of anybody shooting anybody else.
Oh,
right?
sure. And let's take
All
cars
guns
away. Let's take food away because sometimes people choke to death. Let's take cars away for car accidents. Let's
No, but
like
what's the purpose of people eat? What's the purpose of a gun?
hunting, self-defense.
Self-defense for who?
Other people.
So
I grew up in
okay, other
Michigan,
people.
and
so
we
their
fed
life
our
is now in your
family
hands?
through the summer or through the winters with guns and shooting deer and packing that in our basement refrigerator and eating it all month.
Why do you need to?
All winter, right?
Why do you
So-
need to?
Is this such a
Why don't you use a bow and
Yeah,
arrow? You can use a bow and arrow.
like
Oh,
veering
actually, I was a bow hunter, by the way.
just a
I love
heads
that. I
up.
love
Here,
that. But
here,
still,
here,
why do you
allow
guys
me.
keep on diverting?
If you
Can you
allow
just
me,
talk about
FYI,
why
we've got
killing
about
babies is right?
FYI, we've got about 15 minutes left, and I feel like we've like goalposts shifted all over the place in so many different directions. So
And not on our side.
here's
No,
what I
absolutely. Okay, sorry.
here's what I want to say. I would highly recommend any of the final points you want to hit would be the time to tap in on it, and I would make sure to focal in on the topic itself.
So I think the opponents have not proved to us why this sort of idea of viability is valuable, because this idea that they have to be able to live separately from another person would kind of exclude newborns because they require some sort of level of dependence. It would exclude people in like hospice care or very elderly people that require other people's energy to survive. So again, you guys haven't really shown us that. You keep claiming that like they become a baby, like something magical happens at that viability point when they are the same human organism that has been existed since conception. They are quite certainly living, and they are quite certainly a human being. So you have to kind of prove to us more why the viability matters.
So a 2-day-old is the same thing as a 2-day-old like the embryo or the cells is the same thing as a 2-day-old baby.
They are the same human organism, yes.
So if I put them and I feed them milk and I put them on the incubator and all that, the 2-day-old pregnancy cells that are together and the 2-day-old of the baby are going to have the same outcome?
They need their natural environment and time and nutrition.
That
and
was not the
like
question.
any other. Your question is so dumb. I can't even. You're telling me you're going to put a 2-day cell on an incubator and feed it milk.
Let me explain exactly why I asked that, right? Let me explain why I asked. Let me explain why I said that, right? Our point is viability outside of the womb, and you ask why And we are answering because if I take a baby that is 8 months from a woman's womb, I put him on the incubator and I give him the nutrients for him to survive, that baby will become you.
Why is that?
Let me finish. Let me finish. If I put a 2-day whatever cells that are together outside of the womb on the incubator, and I give every nutrients and all that thing is going to die, just like a lot of women have miscarriage on their body because it's not a baby, it's just a bunch of cells getting out of your pussy.
So what determines human worth is whether or not you can survive in an incubator.
Now, what determines humans' worth is if the baby can actually be put out of the womb and survive. That's why we call it birthdays. We don't say, where was the day that your mom or daddy came in your mama, right? It's a birthday for a reason. You are 28 years old. You are not 28 and 10 months because your daddy came in your mother. We start count the days since the day that you are born. And what me and team leader are saying is very reasonable. Once the baby can be put outside, and can be viable, it will be extremely moral to delete that baby because now that's a baby. There's not a bunch of cells that y'all Christians think is actually a baby. Go ahead.
Now it's a baby. So what? And you keep using this term clump of cells. Do you know that I'm a clump of cells and you're a clump of cells and that every living organism is a clump of cells?
And a cat is a clump of cells.
Yes, it is. So again...
And a deer is a clump of cells. So we shouldn't go hunting because a deer as a clump of cells is equal to a baby. Killing a deer is killing a baby, right?
Are you? You can't even track. Can I just talk to Alishness for the rest of this?
No, you can't because your argument is ridiculous. Your argument is ridiculous. You said we are all clumps of cells. So if Vi picks his gun, goes to the woods and kill a deer and put it on its feet like he said he would, you are killing a baby because both of them are clumps of cells, right?
Yeah, I mean, Alishness, can you engage with this?
Again, you can't answer. You can't answer.
You're asking me nothing. You're asking me if a deer is a baby. I mean, are you serious?
Your statement was very clear. 2 days. I gave you 2 days. And you said, do you know that we all are clumps of cells? That 2-day pregnancy is a clump of cells. Fat is a clump of cells. And like, that's what we are. We have in common. So I'm asking you, isn't a deer that vibe hunts a clump of cells too? And you know I'm 1 second, Taylor. You know I'm asking that, Taylor. Let me finish, please. One second, please.
I actually like you, Fatty. I didn't realize you were this stupid.
Let me tell you why. Because it's a false equivalency. It's a false equivalency. You are saying
bring me the stupidity.
No, it's because you gotta help because he can't.
Because what she's doing is a false equivalency. You are comparing.
Let me understand this correctly. So, because that scientifically we're all deemed as a clump of cells, you're saying that a baby is comparable to a deer.
That was their point. That's not. That's his point. Hey, friends.
Hold on. Let me try to find some ground here. So a baby compared to a deer, right? They're both a clump of cells. That means they're both have life of some sort, right? But scientifically, they are in fact cells that are clumped together, correct?
Sure.
So
Sarah,
does that mean that there's no difference between a baby and a deer? Or
I know I became a way better debater than when I got here in the first place because y'all at some point of time are debating yourselves. This was her statement. Well, not mine. Please let me finish. Please let me finish.
No,
I believe there's. Let me finish, please. I believe there's a difference between a 2-day-old pregnancy, which is a clump of cells, a baby that is outside of the womb, and a deer. I believe in that, and my captain believes that too. What she said,
I get it.
That's what she said. She said that.
But what you're not acknowledging is that she is recognizing clump of cells in different stages and phases of life, right? So there's a clump of cells that are this big, and a clump of cells that are this big.
Sure.
A clump of cells like me, I'm walking and talking, and I can do all sorts of things, right? So she's recognizing there's still clump of cells, but she also is not. She's not stating it, but she doesn't have to because it's stating the obvious of there are obviously significantly differences in stages of what a clump of cells is.
But what she did was a false equivalency.
No,
You know what? Y'all got it. Y'all guys, because y'all will make statements, and then when I repeat the statements back to you, you think I'm doing the statement.
Physically can't take it anymore.
It's
you have to take a shit. You will help
what
you.
she's using. It's not a false equivalency. It's
so explain to me, Sarah, please.
Yes, Sarah can help you walk you through this. You're debating.
No, explain it to me, please.
The part that she's just not stating is just simply there's different phases, obviously, of a clump of cells. It's scientific, right? Like
that's my point, right?
Typically, what I am built up of, there's my skin cells, my hair, like all of these things. Technically speaking, we're all clumps of cells,
and that's our point. That's what you said right now is our point. We are different. 2-day pregnancy and a baby, they are all both clump of cells, but they are clearly different. And what Taylor said, she implied, Fatty, do you know that the same way you point of those, then they are clump of cells? You are a clump of cells. I am a clump of cells. There's a false equivalency.
Okay,
because just because we are clumps of cells doesn't mean that my life and a deer, which is a clump of cells, is the same. They are different. We make the difference from a deer, so we make the difference from a baby to an embryo.
All right, Taylor, go ahead and offer your qualifier. I know there's.
Okay, I just want to say this is genuinely one of the worst debates I've ever had in my life. I mean,
you are so flash that you don't even notice.
Hold on, Patty, let her answer.
So disappointing. The only one using the language of clump of cells here is the pro-choice side. And my point, and I'm going to walk you through like a real slow on this one, is that when you want to say that they're not a baby before 24 weeks, they're just a clump of cells, and then you use that as a reason to abort them, to kill them, because they are just a clump of cells, and that is your reason for killing them, then I can say, well, we're all clumps of cells, Fatty. You're a clump of cells. I'm a clump of cells. And then by your logic, try to keep up here, we can just murder you and me because we're just clumps of cells.
Can I?
Sense?
Yeah, so now everybody's going to see how she's from in our position.
Yeah,
No. Since I'm dumber than y'all, one second. Let me commit my mistake. Since I'm dumber than y'all, right? My point and our point is that we believe that clumps of cells that are valuable, that are survive outside of the womb, is a baby. That's our point. If you are a clump of cells that can survive outside of the womb, you are not a baby, you are a fetus. So now that I explain my point, and it's not about the clump of cells, it's about the viability of those clumps of cells outside of the womb, you are going to address what I said. Go ahead, Taylor, now that I explained.
You didn't explain.
Alice, hold on. Alice, do you want to try and help your partner out with a clarification there?
Please help us.
So,
Al, there's no need to actually explain people that they actually are obtuse and not trying to explain.
I understand what he's saying. He's saying that like before the fetus is viable, before it actually has any chance of life outside of the womb, it has to be viable first. It has to actually have the proper forms inside of it, the organs, the lungs, the facilities to actually survive outside of the womb. So it's not like a snap of a finger where it goes from one to the other. What more so I'm trying to establish is the fact that not only do you not care where that point is, where that line is, but you kind of don't have any care for whether the life comes out or not and past the birth point, because it seems like you just kind of want the baby to be born and then the fuck with it. You don't care what happens to it afterwards, right? Is that
what a great diversion from the actual point?
Because this is about morality. This is about the morality of whether or not you want the
fetus. You can kill a person if you can't guarantee good outcomes, correct? In your point of view, you can kill a person if you can't guarantee good outcomes.
No,
yes,
that is a straw man of my
That's
position.
what you just said, that we don't care enough about them. We don't care enough about them post-birth. You said that we don't have everything figured out post-birth, so that we can now. That's a great justification to kill them. That is your position.
So no, it's your position.
Nope.
That if somebody does enough wrong things in life, that they are able to be put in jail forever to rot away, right?
Yeah. Is that not your position?
No, apparently yours is just giving.
Aloysius has tonight
yours
defended
is just getting an abortion, right? Like
Aloysius tonight has defended infanticide, murder, and essentially taking away like the penal system. So cool point.
What penal system? I don't understand.
you don't want to. You want to take away the prison system. You don't believe anyone should be in prison.
What you're doing is you basically already said that you want to put women. Well, I think this was actually Vibe's position more so, but you want to put women in prison for getting an abortion, right?
Sure.
They get an abortion, they go to jail forever.
Yes. Sure.
Life.
Yep.
Right. So their life is no longer worth it. They don't have any other chance in life. Is that it?
If I murder my toddler, should I go to prison for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Just let you know. Okay, so we're on the. And my life is worth nothing. I'm worthless. You don't care about me.
You did that with intent, right? Did you do it with intent?
Does an abortion have intent?
Was it an accident? Because there's a lot.
Is an abortion an accident? Oopsies, not an abortion.
There's a lot of different things that can happen, like between intent, did it happen accident? There's a million things that can happen, right? But you're saying that if somebody gets an abortion, no matter what the cause is, they could have been raped, they could have been it could have been an accident, they could have been raped, they could have had like some medical condition going on where they knew that the baby wasn't gonna, or the fetus wasn't going to survive. They could have had some disease that they knew they were
okay.
Not
We get it.
We love your edge cases, but can we focus once again on 99% is oops. Everything you just said isn't an actual abortion. 1% of what you're talking about is abortions. 99% is I actually slept with somebody and I thought I wasn't on my period, or I thought I was in the right type period, or we didn't use a condom. It's an oops. And therefore I went, oh shit, this is an inconvenience in my life. I'm going to kill this baby. That's the reality of this conversation. But this is something you guys have very well. You guys have been very well. We don't accept the conversation. You guys
we don't accept the premise. It's not a killing if you were not alive and it's not a baby.
Okay. I think we're gonna go ahead and move into closing statements because I don't find we're getting anywhere with the current discussion. So maybe. Hopefully, if people would like to join in for the panel Q&A portion, we can bring in some new ideas and new arguments to the table. I have dropped the link into the live chat for you to be able to jump backstage now, and then we'll kick you off in here in a minute. Fatty, if you'd like to kick off with your closing statement, please.
I want to thank my team leader for actually be a good debate partner. I appreciate it. It was so bad that Sarah was trying to help y'all. So when the moderator tried to help the other side, you know that they're losing. I want to say this. Shout out to Vibe. Appreciate you. Taylor is a massive coward. And let me explain why she's a massive coward on my closing statement. She's a religious person. Her morality came from God. She has an interview saying that when she was exposed to Ben Shapiro and to Steven Crowder debate, she turned herself to Catholicism and she became a Christian, a Catholic. The debate is abortion moral? If your morals come from your God, it's very fair to attack the premise of your beliefs because this is what you believe in. And instead of actually doing that, you were a coward on your opening statement. You said, I don't want to talk about religion. And then again, on the middle of the date, you turn around and you use your religion as repentance and all that to actually get away from my team leader actually to get you. If this was about religion, like it should be, because that's your moral stance, where would you get your morality? We had to talk about your God when the first time that a woman that was suspected to be adulterous, he said for people to do a potion. So if she actually cheated on her husband, her baby will die. She will drink that potion and her baby will die. This will checkmate your whole position because even though it's the Old Testament, it's the same God. He was the God on the first Old Testament and he's the God on the New. But because you are a coward, right, and you don't want to defend actually your positions, you come on the opening statement and say, I don't want to talk about my religion and God, when that's literally where you get your morality. So once again, if y'all want to have abortion debates about morality, but you don't want to debate where their morality comes from, you are a coward. You shouldn't be debating. You go preach to people that believe like you. Once again, thank you very much for having me. And I will stay here for 1 hour to punch y'all in the motherfucking mouth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love you, Fatty. So much.
He is referring to the trial of the bitter water in the Old Testament. That is what he's referring to when he talks about drinking the potion. I'm sure you guys know about that. Anyway, so more so what I was trying to establish is that the morality of the other side is more so based on whether or not like the fetus makes it out of the womb. Like once that happens, it's curtains for that thing, right? Like the baby could grow up to be like the worst person on earth, or they could grow up to be the best person on earth, but it doesn't matter to them as long as it survives that initial stage of getting out of the vagina, flying out into the arms of whoever wants to take it, apparently, whether it be the foster system, whether it be the mother, whether it be the father. It doesn't even matter. Somebody can pick it up off the side of the street. Just as long as it gets out of the vagina, it doesn't matter. Their morality no longer matters to them at all. It's just to make sure they rush them out of there. It seems like their morality only depends on that and doesn't actually depend on what is happening inside of the womb. There are multiple situations in which a fetus cannot be viable for life, right? Or it could be, even in the case of Adriana Smith, where the vessel or the parent is not viable for life and they're forcing the child to come out for some weird reason. I mean, you think that they would want to override for the health of the child, for the morality of the child, to make sure that they are going to have a good life, which apparently the child doesn't matter in this case because they just, left it in there in a rotting corpse, by the way. But basically what we've established is that the morality only lies on whatever is in the womb, whether it be a child, whether it be a tumor, whether it be anything that could live inside of there. As soon as it comes out, it doesn't matter. But I would like to thank my my debate partner, Fatty, and I would like to thank both of you guys too. I did follow you, Taylor, on TikTok, and I don't know your vibe on YouTube. I will follow you on YouTube. It was great to talk to you guys. Anyway.
Thank you, Alice.
No problem.
Vibe to you, please.
Yeah, I mean, in my opening statement, I pretty much said that Fatty was going to add no value. Through this whole debate, he absolutely didn't. Alice, yeah, you did add value to this. I do appreciate your argument. I wish you could have had more floor time. But I do find that the whole argument, basically, I mean, you guys have to take a huge L here because you kept on diverting the topic. You couldn't actually get into viability. You couldn't get into what really, like, we're killing babies. Like, you guys are just like cool with killing babies. And by the way, my partner Taylor, by the way, she freaking rocked it on this. Just want to throw that out there. She's really good. She's done these debates before. I haven't. But yeah, you guys just kept on diverting. And I really was hoping that this debate was actually really going to have some substance. And unfortunately, I didn't feel like it had any substance. I just was so, it was a bit disappointing. Sorry. I really wanted to dig into like the real stuff. And yeah. And I don't know, maybe I think that was all Fatty's fault. Anyways, I cede my time, and hopefully I don't jump on another panel with Fatty.
It's my fault that your partner didn't want to defend our position on morality.
Taylor, you're closing.
But you wanted to get somewhere, right? Okay.
Taylor,
he's going to interrupt right up till the end. He's going to right up till the end. All right. I'm going to thank everyone. Thanks, Vibe and Alchinus, and even thank you, Fatty. So yeah, again, I agree that this was disappointing. Abortion is an important topic, and I think that it's important for both sides to represent their positions clearly. Unfortunately, the other side did not represent their position clearly at all. They wanted to throw out insane hypotheticals, go to the niche cases, which we actually, I think, tackled fairly well, but they could not defend their position at all. They gave some vague notion of viability, though couldn't tell us why dependence even matters. They didn't really defend their positions at all. Fatty wants to call me a coward for not talking about Christianity, though I'm fine with resting my morals on God versus the morals that this team has that has defended infanticide, basically not locking up prisoners, and ultimately defending murder. So I'm happy with my morality. I'm not even going to touch the Bible verse that he brought up, because most people know that is not talking about a pregnant woman. It's not talking about a miscarriage. The Bitter Waters verse is talking about the ability for the woman to become infertile as a sort of punishment. So again, I would have been happy to defend that in the debate. He wanted to wait till the end to call me some sort of coward and talk about Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, which I have never even spoken about. So he should go and watch all my other stuff again and actually have the proper information. So anyway, I'm happy with my moral system that values life, that does not, approve of the killing of innocent human beings. So hopefully these two can get better at defending their positions, because then maybe we could have more interesting debates sometime. So thanks, Sarah, again for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you to all four of you. This has been a hot tamale of a debate at the very least. I was hoping for more logic lines to follow through, but we still had our fun, and that's all that counts. Somebody's got a hot fan or something. I think it's all right. I have the panel hanging out backstage. Also, they're going to come up and do some Q&A to everyone. If anybody specifically has questions for Alishness or Taylor, ping me backstage, because I need to know if anyone has direct questions just for them. Okay, because they're going to leave here in 15 minutes. So I want to make sure we get those in first at the very least. Otherwise, Vibe and Fetty and I can even help on either side carry the conversation as well. Also, if you guys want your full gauntlet mode, you are 2 out of 15 on that dono goal, and I will. We will only do gauntlet if you complete that goal. I'm going to save the super chats for after we get any questions for Taylor and Alishness, by the way, and let them go first. Okay, everybody ready to meet your panel? Here we go. All right, I'm going to play a little switcheroo up here and get everybody sorted back through. I'm going to put Taylor and Alish over on one side together for now. Just as a reminder, if you have a question directly for Taylor or Alishness, hit me backstage so I can get you up first for those questions, and then we'll move on. Also, reminder, we will get through our Q&A panel portion, but we will not move on to the gauntlet without the dono goal completed. So we will shut down after Q&A if you don't complete the dono. And I have 3 more people backstage who definitely want to hit the gauntlet. So please hit the dono goal so we can continue on. All right, Andrew, I believe you have a question just for Taylor. Go ahead.
Hey, yeah. Well, it's for Taylor and Vibe.
Okay.
I feel like it's useless to ask a question to Fatty or his partner here. It's not going to get anywhere. And I have some legitimate pushback for them because they both said over and over, Taylor and Vibe, and great job, by the way, guys. Obviously, I think you won the debate. But I had some pushback on the no death penalty thing and the very pro prison thing. Because if anything, and I'll give you my point first, and then I'd like to hear yours, just so you understand where I'm coming from. I would be for totally abolishing prisons. I don't think they do any good. And I think if we had some type of system that was, death penalty or corporal punishment or a fine carried out immediately, I think with all the technology, there's no more like mistaken murder. Like we catch you on camera, we see you go from this camera to this camera to this camera to this camera. Like we know it's you. There's no point in waiting, having taxpayers pay money. It should just be carried out immediately. For example, you wouldn't send your child to their room for 4 years and expect a result out of that. So I'm just curious as to why you think this is the best option.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely have criticisms of just like the prison system in general and think that maybe it's like even too cushy for certain, crimes. I tend to just follow the Catholic Church's teaching on these things. The death penalty is the one sort of issue that I feel like I challenge a little bit on, because there are certainly crimes where I look at it and I say, okay, death penalty. And I actually think your point is very reasonable. I just don't see the practicalness of it. Just as far as like implementing it. So like, I don't think you have an unreasonable position, but I just tend to follow the Catholic Church teachings and give people time to establish grace in their own life. So that's my point of view on that.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, my personal opinion is, and this is just my own opinion, it has nothing to do with abortion. It is that any government that has the power to kill its own people is a bad government. I'm okay punishing the people I'm okay with my government punishing people for bad doings, but I don't think any government should be able to kill its own people. That's my personal position, and it has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with abortion. It has nothing to do with anything else. I just don't think the government should be allowed to kill its own people.
But the people can kill its own people?
Well, that's your position.
In your worldview, yes.
Yeah.
No, you said that you were fine with the Second Amendment for self-defense, right?
That's different than.
Why is that different?
What, you don't know the difference between self-defense and killing innocent people? You genuinely don't understand that concept?
I mean,
okay, so okay. Let's go with your Second Amendment hypothetical. So I have a family. I hear my kids right now. They're ready to go to sleep. I've got 3 of them, and somebody comes in my front door, and they threaten the lives of my kids. Mm-hmm. I can take the gun that is actually literally 1 foot away from my arm right now, mm-hmm. pull it out and point it at them. I don't have to kill them. I can just say, get the fuck out of my house. And if they don't get the fuck out of my house, I can shoot them.
Okay.
Now, is that anti-abortion?
No, because my question is, you said a government that has the ability to kill its people.
Yeah, I'm not the government. That's me.
Right,
that's
right.
Me. That's me with my fucking gun, right?
Right. But they're not allowed to give the death penalty to people who commit heinous crimes. So let's say that person killed like 50 people. So they're good to just go to prison, never get the death penalty. But you have the ability, somebody walks in your house, let's say they're not even trying to rob you. Say they're like delusional, they don't know what's going on. And you just shoot them and then that's it.
Well, okay, so there is something that we have that's called common sense. I actually did have somebody come into my house one time. It was a teenage drunk guy. He didn't even know, like, he was so drunk. He walked in our front door and we didn't lock our door. And I said, I didn't pull the gun out and I didn't shoot him. I said, you're drunk. Go, you live next door. Go there, right? We have common sense. Now, if I would,
I don't know,
then maybe we actually have a legal system for this. People would probably say that was an unjustified killing.
But you don't want the legal
system. I still don't understand what this
let's
has to do with abortion.
We can actually run into the legality works. If the chat buys you the gauntlet, we'll run through that later. Kraut Mick has a question specifically for Al, so I want to get that question and then we can let the ladies go.
All right, go ahead.
So yeah, go ahead, Kraut.
How you doing? First off, Sarah, thanks for having me. You may have said this already during the debate, Al, but one more time for clarity, when does life begin?
So if we're going to be specific, life does begin at the moment of conception, right? Because we're having cell meeting cell, but life is not a very good indicator for viability, because you can have a cancer, you can have a cancer cell that has life. You can have a skin cell that has life, right? So we're not going to say that when egg meets sperm that is immediately a viable for life human. We can say that is life though, right? If we're using general terms.
Okay. Well, I mean, if somebody has cancer or whatever medical condition, we actually have doctors that can fix that. But so when does viability begin?
So viability would begin when you can remove, and I'm going to use the phrase that we've been using the entire time, is remove the life support. So in other words, if if the fetus can survive outside of the womb of the mother without any major medical intervention, and we're kind of putting aside the fact that obviously they're going to need to be fed, watered, and changed. Okay, that's like ridiculous.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 years old, right? When they're viable.
Okay, like I mean, it's kind of absurd. You're kind of making an argument to absurdity.
No, that's not absurdity.
No, it actually is.
If you just take a baby and put it on the beach, it's not going to survive.
Yeah, right. That.
So I really want to get Al's input on this. Vibe, is that your name? What's up, man? Great job. I really want to get Al's, but I'll say this real quick before you finish your statement. The earliest offspring, which is actually fetus is Latin for offspring. We actually derive 60% of the English language from Latin and Greek. But anyways, the earliest offspring to survive was at 21 or 22 weeks. So would you cut off abortion at 20 weeks?
Like I said, is there major medical intervention? Were they
that shouldn't matter? I mean, like I said, if somebody has a brain tumor in their head, are we just going to say, well, I mean, it's terminal, we can fix you, but we're just not going to. So kiss your loved ones goodbye, kaput. That shouldn't matter.
That's not really the same thing at all, because
I mean, it kind of is.
I mean, we are aborting the brain tumor, so you're right. We are going to abort that brain tumor, even though it has its own unique set of DNA. We are going to cut it out and abort it.
Can you answer that question?
Is the brain tumor a person?
It has its own unique DNA, so maybe out of two.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter.
It is
I'm not
life.
a vegan. I eat meat, but I'm not going to eat a human.
Is life,
it's funny.
Right?
Somebody in the chat mentioned we're going to mention cannibalism. The point is, we try everything we do to save a life, regardless if they need medical major. What you said, like the medical intervention, the earliest is 21 or 22 weeks. So can you honestly support abortions after 20 weeks?
I honestly don't know what 20 weeks is in terms of development. But what I'm saying is that if they can survive outside of the womb without major medical intervention. So let's say that the mother died, and I'm going to use this example again. The mother dies. If you're able to give that the mother a C-section, remove the child, and it is able to survive on minimal intervention, medical intervention, that is when the child is viable. At that point, anywhere beyond that, obviously that it's infanticide at that point.
And so I just want to just ask a quick question, Al, because you brought this up many times, even in our debate earlier, where you're like, okay, even cancer has DNA, tumors have DNA. Do you think that the value of a tumorous DNA is higher value than a human DNA? Or do you think human DNA actually has some significance? Or do you just go, well, if it has DNA, it has the same significance. So, the plant in my backyard has the same significance as my DNA. Is that your logic? Is that why you think it's okay to abort babies? Because you look at all DNA, whether it's a tumor, cancer, a flower, or whatever, as the same DNA as a human?
To be clear, it is human DNA. A human cancer tumor will have human DNA, right?
But not the same, right? It's going to be a variant. It's going to be a mutation.
It's going to be unique DNA. I mean, you said earlier that your unique identifier was unique human DNA.
It's just a malignant cell.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's still your cell.
Thing. So,
yes. Are you honestly comparing offspring to cancer cells?
No, that's their point. Stop attacking her. It's their point.
Daddy,
their point is cells
I'm not debating.
are
You
alive.
too emotional. That's why I'm talking to Al.
It's because you are attacking her by a point that she didn't make. That's their point.
No,
that cells are a baby.
I'm getting clarification.
Proud.
The question's okay.
Sarah, it's because he's directing a question to the wrong people. Her claim was never cells. Cells, because they are alive, are a baby. This was their point. It was not her point. Her point was,
Maddie, you're not in this.
Let me finish this. As soon as the cells are viable outside of the womb, which now we call a baby, now it's okay. They are mad because he's not saying 20, 21, 23, 24. But we all understand that as a consensus in science that after the 20th week,
most baby are viable outside of the womb. So he's on that ballpark. Can we go with that?
First off, this is not a consensus. And by the way, that would have been a great argument if you guys actually brought that to the argument. Like,
no,
you guys went everywhere else except for that.
Vibe, you know why there's a stupid argument?
Hold on. I think let Kraut finish his thought process and see where we're going with it.
I got a question for Fatty, since he's so like intellectually with this debate.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
When does a fetus stop developing? At which point they just get bigger?
When they stop whatever function they have.
When they develop everything, organs, finger, toes. At what point do they stop developing that and they just get bigger?
Wait, what? Your question
and that includes pain receptors.
No,
as
one
well.
second.
I'll give you the answer.
No, one second.
I'll give you the answer.
No, you asked a question, right? No, you asked a question, right? No, so your question is, when is a tree? When does a tree that is dies or stops growing? That's your question.
No. I'm going to give you the answer.
That's your question. When does the tree stop growing? That's your question.
Interrupting, bro. Stop acting like a liberal. Get your emotions in check. I'm going to give you the answer because I'm not sure I answered the question correctly anyway.
USA.
All right, listen.
Go ahead.
The baby, the offspring, develops everything. Fingers, toes, organs, pain receptors by week 11, which means any abortion after that point, that baby feels it and everything, and you support that.
Prove it.
And what do you mean prove it, bro? Do your own research. Now,
no, 1 second. No, Kraut. Just 1 second. Oh, Kraut. So you are okay with abortions at week 7, right?
No, I'm not. Life begins at conception.
Why did you stop there?
Because you're justifying abortions in general. The only way I support abortion is life to the mother.
Okay,
because you can't trade one life for another. That's the only way I support abortions. And it's not good. It's a bad scenario regardless.
I'm listening to you very intently, right? You said this.
I doubt it. Go ahead.
1 second. Do you know that at the 11th week, the baby starts feeling things and they have things, right? On the 11th week. That was your statement. And I said,
no, that's not my statement. That's scientifically fact.
So you are okay since it's only on the 11th week that the baby has sensorial like things and activities going on to kill a baby on the 7th week, because the sensorial activities that you're mentioning right now are not present at the 7th week, right?
No.
So why are you bringing it up?
Try to listen to what I'm saying and stop
interrupting. So why are you bringing that up?
Let you talk. Understanding what I'm saying. I'm giving that scenario for the sake of your argument. You support abortions at any time. First, second, third trimester. And I'm explaining to you by week 11, that baby, that fetus, that offspring, whatever you want to call it to make yourself seem more moral about the situation, will feel that abortion. Are you okay with that?
That's not factually correct, actually.
That's not factually
correct. That's scientifically correct.
No,
it's
not. It's not.
You can look it up.
So you can, right. But a fetus can form the pain pathways, is what you're talking about. They're forming the pain pathways.
No, by week 11, it formed everything. It's just getting bigger at that
pathways,
point.
Right? Yeah, they form the nerves and the pain
everything, not just pain pathways, organs, brains, heart.
Right, but there is such a thing as somebody being able to conceptualize the pain that they are able to feel. So like, if I go up to you and I punch you in the face versus if I poured some water over your head, you would know the difference. Or if I, gave you a nice handshake, you would know the difference between all three of those things. A fetus, unfortunately, does not know the difference between any of those things. You can punch it, give it tickle it on the feet or anything. It doesn't have any sort of interoception. It doesn't have it cannot conceptualize pain or understand pain until 28 to 30 weeks. At that point, before that point, pain exists, doesn't know what it is.
Who cares, Al? You would ban abortion before that, you said, so you don't even care about this. What is the point of this?
Because I'm correcting him because he's saying
she's talking to him.
Trying to put
you're
that at 11 weeks we're like.
Yeah, at 11 weeks, you are a big grape. You are the size of a big grape. You have no lungs. Your heart is still developed. Yeah, you have no nothing. You are not a viable baby outside of the womb. Please address our points instead of
And you
talking
know what
about
would
things that
make
we
you a
already
lot more
addressed.
viable? Not killing it. That would really help it develop.
No, but
Correct,
Taylor,
Mundo. You got it, Taylor.
Hold on. We're gonna put a pin in this one, and we're gonna save that for gauntlet mode. If the chat finishes the fucking goal, you're almost done. You only need a few more. Clay,
Sarah, there's a problem with that gauntlet. That's why I've been donating through the cash app. The gauntlet's not working.
It works just fine. I did a test. We've got super chats coming in just fine. No issues there.
Clay, I couldn't do it.
That's okay. Clay, you had one final question for Taylor, and I'm letting the girls go.
Just a quick one. I just wanted to clear up the morality thing because you were kind of being pressured on what is your morality. Is kind of being claimed that you don't see morality outside of just snatching a baby out the womb because the mother might kill it. But I just want to clarify, you're not really just limiting your morality to not unaliving babies. You have morality outside of that. Just want to clarify.
That is true. My morals span past this issue. That is true. I hold an objective morality that is based in God, but my morality is objective outside myself.
And she just proved
weren't even allowed to.
and she just proved she's a coward. Let's not talk about religion
Well,
or
go
God.
ahead,
please.
Owl. You can say. Let Owl talk.
Let's not talk about morality, please.
Fatty, stop. Owl, what?
I know that, like.
Let me tickle
I
you.
mean,
Go ahead, Hal.
I know you would have a hard time contending with the trial of the bitter water. I mean, it's very specific.
I actually didn't. I actually already addressed that. I said that it's
you addressed it incorrectly because it specifically says in that verse that her womb will swell and she will miscarry. Right?
Yeah, that verse has no word for pregnant woman. It actually does. There's actually a separate word for pregnant woman, and you can actually see that word does not exist in that verse, and it is actually like it's a consensus that this has nothing to do with pregnancy and has to do with fertility.
Okay, so she cheats on her husband, right? She cheats on her husband.
Sure.
They go to the
test.
priest.
Yes, it's a test to see right.
So why would her womb swell unless she was pregnant?
The translation is about it's about the thigh falling away. So that has been interpreted in many ways. That can talk about infertility. But they don't. She's not pregnant. That's the thing. Is that there's a word for a pregnant woman and a woman that is not pregnant, and they do not use the word pregnant woman. And even if it did, God has the command. If God wants to kill babies, He kills babies. If God wants to kill us, He kills us. Does that mean we get to kill people? That does not mean we get to kill babies. Again, this is not a Christianity debate. I'm happy to do it. But again,
Can I say something to Taylor real quick?
literally no leg to stand on.
Stop.
Is-
Everyone on the bottom half should be muted up, with exception to the person that I gave the floor to.
So and I think this is really
Go ahead,
important.
Tim.
What Taylor's saying too
Okay.
is she opened her statement with, we don't need to go into God on morality here. If we just look at secularists, let's just pretend that Taylor and I are atheists, right? The thing that we're arguing is that the murdering of babies is wrong. As an atheist, as a Christian, as an Odin, as Balderson is, right? It doesn't really matter who you are and what your religion is. The murdering of babies is wrong.
Yes. So this is
Christianity and religion has nothing to do with this.
Okay. So this is why you're wrong. First, you are using against the premise.
Because you're amoral.
Let me finish.
Allow me, hold on, Fatty, just a moment.
on.
If you don't mind, I'll let the two of you get back into it. I do want to let Taylor and Alice.
Thank you. You spared me from that rant.
Yeah, I don't want to hold either of you up any longer. You're already 10 minutes over the time you told me. So if either of you have something final to say to the panel or to the audience, or tell them all to fuck off for all I care, you're more than welcome to.
No, I'm not like that. I'm gonna try to catch you on TikTok, Taylor. Thank you for having me on, Sarah. Appreciate it, and I appreciate Vibe and Fatty for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Taylor. And now that I know you're from TikTok, I understand what's going on here. Thank you.
Oh my god, I've had my best.
I love you too. I love you too. It was a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah, you're full of jokes. You're so funny. I mean, truly.
Welcome to the major leagues on YouTube. Go ahead.
Wow.
Taylor.
So much.
I love you
Go ahead,
guys.
Taylor.
The arrogance. All right, thanks, Sarah, for having me.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Ollie's gone. So
All right.
again,
Okay, yes. Fatty and sorry, let's reset here. Okay. We've got Fatty and Vibe. Sorry, let me just do some logistics real quick. We've got Fatty, Vibe. I've got Balders and Clay. Everybody on the bottom half and Balderson and Clay should be muted at this point in time. Vibe and Fatty and myself are the only ones who stay unmuted. We're going to go and we're going to get through one question at a time, each person, and then we'll go from here. Fatty and Vibe, if you want to finish your thought, and then I'll do some super chats really fast, and then we'll move back around on our round robin. I know we're a little out of order tonight, but it's for the ladies. Go ahead,
the great
Fatty.
news is that Fatty is going to be answering all the questions, so I'll give the floor to him.
Everybody came to talk to you because you lost, not the winner. I'm the winner. You're the loser. So now all of a sudden, and let's be very clear with this, right? There's two things that you do. First, you use heavily charged language to get your point, which is appeal to emotion. Baby, baby, baby. When we literally said we disagree with the premise that the 3-day baby is not a baby, is a fetus. So you use